Я це читаю для Дзвіні і Джей, і також дякую Ніко за нагоду. Це вірш написав Микола Руденко. Не радію рослинній буйності по ярах та зелених схилах. Не обдуриш, не бачивши в юності, як дерева ростуть на могилах. В землю надали ви зеленими, та катів не благали в полях. Юнаки проростали кленами, шелестіли юнки в тополях. Не радію пагінню буйному, знаю, чим поживилось коріння. Накажу соловейку чуйному вшанувати мої боління. Хай ковтає світанки росяні, переробить їх горді на пісню. І все, що прийшло по осені, переграє на молодість пісню.
Who can remember how many taps our talented dancer who preceded me made on the floor? Did you count them? Could you repeat them? Any one of you? Most likely not. The theme, of course, of forgetfulness is something so inherent in us. There's something so much part of the workings of the human mind that we take it for granted and, in fact, ignore it. Yet, as we know, as Cesare Pavese said, we remember instants and not days. We are primarily made up of forgetfulness and not memory. This becomes more evident, of course, as we get older. And, but even so, if you extend the metaphor into the collective whole, as I said before, we see how young we are in our memories, how ancient we are in our forgetfulness. I will relate to you a little anecdote from my days in the Amazon. When I was 7 years old, well, there were many plagues that would come and visit us and leave us without friends. One of them took every playmate that I had. But that's not so much the morbid aspect that I want to emphasize. Also, it is more within the realm of the fantastic that I would like to refer to. One flood that came was so brutal that it tore up all the tombs in the local cemetery, mingling the skulls with the skeletons and causing a confusion in the world of the dead. To the point at which, of course, it caused a great stir within the world of the living also, because many people were feuding, as they usually are in these small towns, for many years among the families. And this confusion of skulls and skeletons, imagine the struggle and the greater hostility that it caused. It enters almost the realm of the fantastic. I grew up in a town. To those of you who have read some Latin American fiction, such as Marcus's 100 Years of Solitude will be familiar with some of the elements that I'm referring to. So the theme of amnesia grew up in me as a need, as a presence, which I had to express and somehow. And I did it by creating a surrogate story, which was the story of a group of scribes in the 16th century. The reason that I placed it in the 16th century was because Spanish language, as English language in this continent, begins at the same time. To build a new world is to begin from scratch. It is indeed to begin away from amnesia. In your country, the Indian past is pretty much either obliterated, erased, or warped by the narrative of history. To be a woman is also to confront a huge gap in the past, and hence you have the option either to dig into the past and try to remake your story through a number of vestiges that are left, or to remake your own self, to reinvent yourself through an act of imagination. And this is the point that we're confronting as human beings right now. We are confronting the possibility of the total extinction of the human race. On the face of that, on the face of the killing of God, or the disappearance of God as a caring entity, we assume the possibility of using our imagination as the only possibility to project ourselves into the future. And this is what we're trying to do here tonight. In a way, I proposed the idea to Bucky Fuller in 1982. Some of you are familiar with Bucky Fuller, obviously, more so perhaps than me. And he was a man of generous soul, and he wanted to collaborate in what we were trying to propose, which was to make people so aware of the aspects of the possibility of disappearance, of the tenuousness, precariousness of human life, that we would become more precious with what we have, with a life. So in any case, the metaphor of amnesia, as we have seen in the poems that we heard by Franz Wright and the fragments of the longer piece that Jack Powers and my memory fails me with Cardi Blood Cell. I had to invent the name, obviously it's not a real name, honored me with their beautiful reading. In these poems, what you have is an intermingling of all planes, because what amnesia suggests, in a way, is a coexistence of all planes simultaneously. It breaks down chronology and it creates a simultaneity of temporal planes. So the past can coexist with the present, and all the interconnections that we have are indeed present simultaneously. So this is in a way the point in history in which we find ourselves. We find ourselves in a way in a point at which everything is coexisting simultaneously. In the arts, this is sometimes expressed by a mingling of references to all the periods of history in the past. In poetry, as the poem that Jack Powers and Cardi Blood Cell read, I try to do that, and I've been trying to do that for many, many years, through also an intermingling of different temporal planes. As you notice, we move from skyscrapers to axes, to stone axes. This is part of the projection of the metaphor of amnesia. Another part is the possibility of absence. And if I may do this for you, 1 second, I'm going to flash. Christina, could you do it kindly? One of the slides of the anthology that is coming out of international painters associated with the amnesty movement, with the idea of amnesia.